Guys, they actually did it. Konami is printing Clockwork Night. It's not just an anime card, it's not just a hypothetical. A little different than what we may have been expecting. Personally, I thought it would be a field spell. It is a continuous spell. That is actually kind of big, because if it's a field spell, it plays in with terraforming, it plays in with Mystic Mine, because you can out your own mine naturally, things like that. So being a continuous spell does actually come up. However, too, if you play it with the Therion's package, you can have Colosseum and Clockwork both on the field, so that is a positive to it. So today, we're going to dive on into Clockwork Night. Is it worth it? Should we play it? How many should we play it at? Well, to get a true answer, we're going to have to test. We'll do some testing matches, we'll do some testing deck builds, all kinds of that for you guys. But this is kind of breaking news. It's pretty big, pretty exciting. I know it's not how I thought my day was going to go. So the card reads, it's a hard once per turn on the activation, so you can only activate one Clockwork Night per turn. And the third effect is also a hard once per turn. So face-up monster effects on the field become face-up monsters on the field become machines. It's got the effect we wanted, right? We can go Chimera Tech, Fortress Dragon, go. Is that all? That's not all. Machines you control gain 500 attack and defense. Machines your opponents control lose 500 attack and defense. That may not sound that good or exciting, but that's 1,000-point swing. Like, oh, 2,100 for a Cyber Dragon to your what? Your 3K beater? Well, now your 3K's got 25 and my 2,100 Cyber Dragon's at 26. So that's 1,000-point swing. That is actually pretty big. And the third and final effect, remember this one is a hard once per turn. You can banish this card from the graveyard, discard one card, cost, add one Earth Machine from your deck to your hand. Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand. What's an Earth Machine that Cyber Dragon might play? Therion's package, King Regulus. Okay, it's got some utility. Outside of that, Earth Machine could use this to search out starters. Regulus, kind of what they need. It's a little slow on the search effect because it's got to go to grave to be able to use it. However, a few things that we do want to mention about this card. So obvious, like first and foremost, Fortress Dragon, right? Like, oh, that's a nice big board you got there. I'm gonna play Clockwork Night. You can't negate it or do something. Summon a Cyber Dragon. You can't interact. Okay, let's just get rid of your whole field. Like that's pretty good. Like we said, the 1,000 attack points, I don't think that's anything to sneeze at. Like that's actually pretty good, and I think it's being overlooked. And searching Regulus, I mean, sure, it's an added bonus for decks if you're already playing it. You're not going to play this card to search Regulus because the field spell is infinitely better. There's no discard. It recurs from the graveyard. It protects and sends from the deck to continue your engine rolling, and you can play it just immediately. You don't have to get it to the graveyard. So as far as searching Regulus, that's kind of just an added bonus if you're playing both, but the card won't be played for that reason. What good things can we do with this? Well, we know Zombie World and Rivalry Lock, right? Well, now Clockwork Night, Rivalry Lock, not a bad idea. Your opponent can only go into machines then. It actually outs Zombie World, kind of. So what happens with this and Zombie World is whatever one hits the field second takes precedence. So say your opponent goes first and they put up a Zombie World. Now it's your turn. You can only do zombies, right? You play Clockwork Night and it takes precedent over the Zombie World that was already previously played, and now everything becomes machines. Your opponent's cards are no longer zombies, so that is really, really big. Your graveyard, however, will still be zombies because this only affects the on the field, not the graveyard. So your graveyard will still be zombies, meaning like Naxx or targeted machine with 2,100 attack or defense cannot be used because there's still zombies in the graveyard. So do keep that in mind. And if they have a Banshee in the grave and they quick effect banish it, put out the Zombie World, well, that takes precedent. Unless, keep this in mind, little rulings notes here, you activate Clockwork Night. If they chain Banshee, Zombie World gets activated first, then Clockwork Night resolves. The activation of it resolves, meaning it is the last one to hit the field and activate. So Clockwork will then be in effect. They have to use Banshee after Clockwork is already resolved and applying on the field. If they chain the Banshee to it, it's not going to make everything zombies. So keep that in mind. Super Poly now. Super Poly gets interesting because you could tech in like a Cyber Eternity Dragon and just wait for your opponent to put out 2 monsters on their board, use one of your own Cyber Dragons, Super Poly your Cyber Dragon and their 2 machines into your Eternity Dragon. Over Dragon also, you know, if you want to mass board wipe them and wait for them to put up more monsters if you really need to. You know, there's some different uses in that regard. So Super Poly actually becomes kind of an interesting card, not just to break their board, but to disrupt their board because you're turning their cards into machines. Again, all this stuff needs to be tested. There's going to be a lot of fun things coming, and like we'll see what happens with it all. Some things to keep in mind: that attacking is not optional. So what card might you play that a 500 attack boost may not be the greatest thing in the world for you? Yeah, it does turn off your machine duplication, so keep that in mind. If you're going to play machine dupe and Clockwork, Clockwork turns off your machine dupe. Gotta remember that, guys, because it's going to be pretty big. Personally, the other drawback to this card, it doesn't fix what the deck struggles with already, and that being consistency. This card does not fix consistency. It just helps push in a different direction and be more aggressive in a different way, but it does not fix consistency. My recommendation: don't play machine dupe with this card, because you're adding a bunch of ceiling raising cards but not consistency adding cards, and that's going to make the deck more bricky and not be able to take advantage of the big advantage that is machine dupe, that is Clockwork Night. You're adding too many extremely powerful cards that require certain other setup and scenarios that they just won't work well together, and well, like we just said, they kind of conflict with the attack gain anyway. Why would I play this over dupe? Well, dupe might force out 1 interruption, right? This card forces out 2 actually, because if they play it, they have to negate it or it sticks to the board, right? If it sticks to the board, you summon a Cyber Dragon, all their board's gone. They could just interact with that one and hope you can't summon another, but then if you summon another one, guess what? Either that second disruption comes in or they're losing their board, which guess what? Outs their board. So again, you're outing more than 2 cards off this one. And then you might say, oh, well, you need a Cyber Dragon. You know what deck we're playing, right? Like, I'm seriously considering 3 Cyber Dragons, 0 machine dupe, because the odds of opening 2 aren't very good, and opening 2, I mean, you can make it work, and yeah, just opening the 1's actually going to be pretty strong with Clockwork. So I'm going to try out 3 Cyber Dragon, 3 Clockwork, 0 machine dupes to start. I think that's going to be probably where people start to gravitate towards. Heard it here first. Not to say you can't play machine dupe, I just don't think it's going to be the most optimal route. But yeah, otherwise too, if you play it and they negate it, it goes to the graveyard. You can now banish it and discard a card to add King Regulus. And if you discard a machine, guess what? That King Regulus is live right away, which means either they have to negate the graveyard effect too, so your Clockwork plus your discard out 2 interruptions. You're trading 2 for 2, which isn't the worst thing in the world, and you're doing an even trade-off, so you're not actually negging an advantage. And depending on, like, if you pitch to hers or something, you might actually plus in the process if you want to use that hers' effect. Then if you want to save it to like revive it, get core back, get Naxter back, things like that, I understand. But you're trading 2 for 2, so you're not really losing card advantage either. And if they don't negate that, you use your Regulus effect, which if they don't negate that, you get a 2800 beater who can negate a monster. So now they're going to have to, like, when they try to negate you, you can negate them. So you're still outing that second card. And yeah, like 2 for 1, that's a pretty good trade-off. Like forcing out 2 disruptions off 1 card with a machine discard, like that's kind of good. I'm pretty excited about this card, I'm not gonna lie. Just kind of my quick thoughts without actually testing it, just reading it, theorizing it, talking with a couple friends. Some aren't quite sold on it. Some say format dependent, some say 3 of, some say I'm not sure, I want to test more. I personally want to test more, but I'm actually pretty optimistic for it, and I think there's a lot of potential. I think people just need to gravitate towards the right build, and unfortunately, like I said, I think people are going to have to finally cut machine dupe if they really want to get the most out of this card. Anyway, guys, Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see the profile. We'll drop it here as soon as we can, and lots of other content coming your way. We've been doing really good on the cyber video, guys, so thank you for that. We'll continue putting out our videos just showing different ways to play Cyber Dragon for this format, because I think there's a lot of ways that you can. We're playing in a bunch of Dragon Rider game tournaments, playing for cash, prizes, cards, cool things like that. $20 entry for like a chance to win 3 prosperities by winning 4 matches. Just 4. Like, it's easy, right? Just 4. I mean, competition's tough, guys, but at the time of recording this, we won our first one. We're into the top 8. 3 more to go. Let's see if we can do it with Cyber Dragons. You guys already know. Thanks for watching. Anyway, share, subscribe, like, comment, everything down below. Team set pass. Let's go, guys. Take care and see you guys next time.